This week, I'm in Bombay, or Mumbai, as this brash, self-confident city is now known. It is India's economic nerve centre, the trendsetter of fashion, and of course, home to the world's largest film industry. At the last count, there are around 15 million people living here, and like any big city, the traffic is horrendous, and it has been estimated that breathing in Bombay air is the equivalent to smoking 20 cigarettes a day. No problem for me.
The television company's generous offer of a chauffeur-driven limousine is in fact quite impractical here in Bombay. The traffic is congested by over 50,000 of these black and yellow taxis, which buzz around the place like angry bumblebees.
Clearly, Bombay is a city of contrasts. In the mid-90s, real estate prices rivaled, if not exceeded, those of Manhattan. So wouldn't the developers just die to get hold of this? The Kohli, who live in this village so avariciously earmarked by the plutocratic developers, are the oldest inhabitants of Bombay. They had migrated from Gujarat. In the local language, Kohli means spider or fisherman, a simple allusion to the fisherman's net as a spider's web. 15,000 people live, or should I say, exist in this would-be golden plot right in the heart of the city.
Bombay is so desperately short of water, it's rationed for just 2 to 3 hours a day. And whether you live in Bollywood Heights or in a simple village like this, it's the same for everybody. The difference is here, they've got metal pots. In Bollywood Heights, at least they have some tanks in the roof.
On a lighter note, and this is after all a food programme, here's a little bit about street food, something the people of Bombay, along with me, really enjoy. Here in the Cow Galley, or Eating Alley as it's known, you can enjoy freshly prepared snacks like samosas, onion fritters, masala dosas and pav bhajis. So here are 3 delicious Indian snacks a la Floyd.
I've decided to go into business, so I've bought this food stall here in Bombay. One of the most popular dishes my colleagues, and therefore my peers, serve a thing called a pav bhaji, a very simple vegetable curry. And it's made from tomatoes, cauliflower, potatoes, peas, chili powder, this pav bhaji masala, which you can buy, or indeed get a really good Indian cookbook and make your own, turmeric, garlic, ginger, and onions. And it's all terribly simple, except they cook it on this blasted plancha thing. And they, who've been doing it for years, find it very easy. I will find it very difficult. But we'll start with the onions. And as soon as they soften, add some ginger and some garlic. Let those cook away for a little bit. I've had supreme technical advice this morning from the Bombay Ladies Department of the Good Housekeeping Institute, who've been peering over the counter all morning saying, no, it is not like that. But yes, it is like this. Then we put some tomato onto that. Some chili powder. Some turmeric. And then the most essential ingredient is the pav bhaji masala,
which is a mix of red chilli, cumin seeds, coriander seeds, turmeric, to name but a few.
Cook this right down now till we have a nice base. All the glorious colours of the Indian subcontinent. Then we'll add some cauliflower. Then we'll add some peas. This is typically Indian fast food. Then we'll add some potato, diced already cooked potato. And let that carry on cooking for about another 5 or 6 minutes, if that. It's quite delicious and is traditionally eaten with one of these beautiful Indian bread rolls. And that is it. Close up, please. Excellent. My next dish is a simple dish of mashed potato flavoured with coriander, chilies, chaat masala, get some from your local Asian store, salt, mint and ginger. All you do, chuck in some ginger, some mint, chilies finely chopped, loads of coriander, fresh coriander that is, chaat masala, which contains things like cinnamon and ginger, poppy seeds, dried mango, really nice stuff indeed. Some corn flour, some salt, then we have great fun. Then you roll it into little balls. Yeah. They're all standing behind me, shaking their heads and looking a bit bewildered. No more so than I, of course. Right, we've got 4 there. That'll do for the second. Let's rinse the old hands. Then we'll plop these in. Let them cook just for a few seconds in smoking fat. But do be careful always with deep frying things because it is very dangerous. Even at home, have a fire blanket at hand, very important. And there we are, look. Absolutely gorgeous.
And for my final dish,
An immensely popular sweet and spicy salad. It's very simple. You have some hot chili sauce, some slightly sweet tamarind sauce, fresh coriander, chopped raw mango, boiled chopped potatoes, little red onions chopped up, chat masala, fresh chilies, and what looks like Rice Krispies, in fact just puffed wheat. And it's terribly simple. You add in the puffed wheat, then we'll add some chilies, and we'll add some coriander, and some chopped raw mango, then the potatoes, some chat masala, mix that well together, and some onion, and then tip in some of the chili sauce, stir that in, and then the tamarind sauce, mix it all well together, leave it in the fridge for half an hour or so just to cool down nicely, and you have a completely fat-free, spicy, wonderful snack. So to recap, a sweet and spicy salad of puffed wheat with coriander, chilies, tamarind and red chili sauce, garnished with crispy fried vermicelli, onions and fennel, and a pav bhaji, which is a very simple vegetable curry. And last but not least, deep-fried potato balls stuffed with chilies, coriander and other lovely spices.
I know many of you wonder how I manage to always be so immaculately dressed, pressed and spruced. Well, I use a very special laundry service. I send my Dhobi to Bombay, where it is immersed in curiously coloured water, flogged on a stone to within an inch of its life, and thrown onto the roof to dry under the burning Indian sun. Something I would like to do to certain directors and television critics. But despite the apparent confusion, tons of clothes washed daily, dried and pressed with charcoal-fired irons seldom go astray. Note, the hand-operated spin dryer is known as the Flying Dhobi. Viewers of the brilliant TV series The Raj Quartet and Staying On, or the film A Passage to India, will know all about hill stations. For those who don't, hill stations were created by the wealthy colonial British who headed for the hills to escape the stifling summer sun. So from April to June, they would decamp from Bombay with their servants, cooks and maids for the airy, cool bungalows high in the hills at Mataram. We lurched gratingly up the steepening track that twisted and turned like a snake on burning sand up the barren mountainside. From the unglazed windows, the views across the hazy plain below are breathtaking. with a bruised bum and stiff legs I got out at Mataran Station.
Thank you.
And continued my journey, as they did in 1907, by rickshaw. Motor vehicles are banned on environmental reasons and also to maintain employment for the local rickshaw pullers and pony train drivers. How the pullers coped with overweight producers, cameramen, tons of TV kits so cheerfully for so pitifully little, I'll never know. They apparently earn 40 rupees a day. But I'm pleased to say that at least our fat controller compensated them generously at the end of the day. Happily, now Mataran is still a summer haven for Bombayites, but it is fun to imagine what life was like in this elegant bungalow called Gulistan, Place of the Roses, in former times. It was built in 1902 for a British spice merchant, when manners, strict etiquette, social formality and a sense of divine righteousness prevailed. You can well imagine the social flowers of the day would sip tea on the veranda, close their eyes and think of England. After bouncing uncomfortably in a jeep for 2 or more hours heading north from Bombay, you'll arrive at Gorai Beach, where thousands of thin, narrow fish hang on bamboo fences to dry in the sun. These fish, seldom more than 8 inches long, are known as Bombay ducks, a formerly derogatory local term for the colonial British, ducks apparently being a synonym for the Latin duces or doces, which means ruler. And although you'll probably never eat one in a Bombay restaurant, those of us old enough to remember the early days of the first UK Indian restaurants when the choice was Vindaloo, Vindaloo, Madras or Vindaloo, hot or very hot, in the Kohinoor, still hanker after these foul-smelling, exquisitely cheesy-flavoured, crispy, deep-fried, unidentified frying objects. Anyway, on to the cooking.
Since my conversion to vegetarianism, I've discovered more and more delicious ways of cooking vegetables here in India. So, green peas masala, using chili paste, garam masala, ghee, which is clarified butter, green chilies, ginger, tomatoes, and onions. So the first thing we'll do, into the kadai, which is Indian for wok, we'll put some oil and the onions. As soon as they've taken a little bit of colour and softened a bit, we'll add some tomatoes. Now, while that's cooking away and sweating down, in my other wok here, we'll again start off with a little oil. And as soon as that's a bit hot, we're going to crackle some fenugreek seeds and some cumin seeds and some curry leaves. Once they crackle, that brings the flavour out of them. Then we'll add some chilies, green chilies. Oh, it smells delicious. Some garlic paste, some turmeric, and some coriander powder. And then tip in the tomatoes and about ½ a pound of sugar
For my sweet and sour green tomato curry.
and a little tiny drop of water. And we let those simmer gently away until they're softened. It is as simple as that. Meanwhile, over here, these have nicely come down, so we'll add some green chilies, some chopped ginger, some chili paste. It's quite a hot dish, this one. Then some garam masala. Stir all those around. Again, all helps to release the flavours. Meanwhile, the tomatoes are coming on very nicely. And we'll pop in some peas. And a big tablespoonful of ghee, which is clarified butter. And also some ghee in the tomatoes. That's it. My dishes are nearly ready.
So quite simply, 2 delicious vegetable dishes. Green peas in a tangy and spicy sauce, and a sweet and sour, spicy green tomato curry. Lassi is a very popular drink. It's made from yogurt, and you can have it salted or sweet, or even with fruit. This chap sells about 500 drinks a day at only 10 rupees, about 15p.
But what's unusual is it's served in these terracotta pots. Firstly, it keeps it cool. Secondly, it maintains its flavour, which is very nice, by the way. And thirdly, they're disposable. There's no washing up.
The autocratic, the paterfamiliar Indian man is in fact a big softie. He likes home cooking, mummy's cooking, the wife's cooking. But being the industrious breadwinner he is, he has no time to go home for lunch. So here in Bombay, lunch is sent to him at the office. First, wife cooks his favourite meal in accordance with his religious taboos and pops the courses into round dishes in a tiffin tin. Second, she puts on the train to central Bombay, where it is collected along with 170,000 others per day by dabberwallahs, who load the tins onto a huge tray, which they balance on their heads and deliver by foot and without error to the salivating executive.
So, let's have a look at what the typical Bombay office worker might have for his lunch. We open up the thing. Ingenious design, I have to say. Pull that out. So, first one in here. We have fritters and chapatis. Under there we have cottage cheese and spinach. Underneath there some lovely yellow lentils, fresh herbs and chilies. And in the bottom, some rice. The great thing is, if this ever took off in the city of London, instead of them being wrapped up in odd bits of sacking, there'd be Louis Vuitton and Gucci.
These particular tiffins are going to the managers of one of Bombay's busiest sari manufacturers.
In a very hot country like India, a great way of preserving food is by pickling it. Not only do these pickles pep up your meal, they're also terribly good for your health. Here, for example, we've got mixed pickle, mango pickle, very sour lime pickle, very hot green chili pickle, garlic pickle, for instance. One of my favourites, a very, very sweet lemon pickle, red chili pickle, sweet mango pickle, and turmeric pickle. And turmeric pickle is terribly good for aches and pains in the bones. It's very good for you.
This magnificent archway was built in 1911 to commemorate the visit of King George V and Queen Mary to India. It's on the shore of Bombay Harbour and, of course, overlooks the Arabian Sea. It was also poignantly and inevitably the place that the British chose to depart when they left India in 1947. But more important than that, it's an absolutely brilliant backdrop for my next cooking sketch.
A very popular dish here in Bombay is a dansak, in this case a mutton dansak. It's a mixture of meat, lentils and vegetables with a wonderful spicy flavour. As usual, you must make a masala. And to do that, firstly, you will toast some coriander seeds, some cardamom seeds, some red chilies, some cinnamon sticks, some black peppercorns, some cinnamon seeds and some fenugreek. You toast those very lightly, then you grind them up with fresh garlic and fresh ginger, and you end up with this resulting rich ochre brown paste. First thing we do, however, is to get some onions, chuck them into the pot and fry them until they're lightly brown. We add in the masala and stir that well in with the onions. Then we add some coriander powder, a little bit, cinnamon powder, and some turmeric. Then as soon as that's all cooked for a few minutes, we actually tip in the meat. Stir that well in and let that simmer away with no liquid until the liquid from the meat comes out and amalgamates with the masala and the onions. And then we go on to phase 2. Now I'm going to add some mung peas, which I've soaked overnight, and stir those in. Then we add some small split lentils. These are slightly pink ones. And then thirdly, some split bigger yellow lentils, also again as the pink ones, soaked overnight. Stir those in. Then we add some chopped up pumpkin. And finally, some nice little baby eggplants cut into quarters. Pop those in as well and give the whole thing a really good stir. Now we'll pop a lid on that and let that cook for about another half an hour until the lentils have swelled up. And as a final thing, when the dish is cooked, we'll be quickly frying some fresh spinach and popping that into the dish as well. But for the moment, this must continue cooking for at least another 20 minutes.
I was feeling very proud of my mutton dansak when one of the chefs came up and said, "What is that?" I said, "It's mutton dansak." He said, "No, it isn't." But I'm telling you, it is. From a work point of view and a filming point of view, I really enjoyed Bombay. But when I was drifting around the place as a tourist, I found it rather disappointing. It was a bit squalid, it's very cosmopolitan, it's lost its identity, and the restaurants, quite frankly, aren't what they're cracked up to be. Oh, by the way, I've written a book to accompany this series. It's called Floyd's India, and it includes all the recipes I've shown you and more. And of course, it's available from all good bookshops.